Hi, this is Aaron Fink. If you like what you hear on this episode, leave us a review or... Sorry, what was it again?
Yeah, leave it to the professionals. Hey everyone, this is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, give us a follow or leave us a review on whatever platform you listen to, or cut a promo on us by calling 626-657-SLAM.
Pick up the phone.
All right, cue that music.
Hey, hello, and welcome to Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views and television specials that shaped professional wrestling history. Today, we are heading back to NWO WCW Souled Out 1998, an evening of dream matches, Clinton references, a vacant world title, maybe some scalding hot coffee. We'll be breaking it all down and then some. But first, I'm Bradley Palermo, here as always with Aaron Fink. And Aaron, I think on this show, we not mastetize. What do? We put something into the ether and it came true. You wanted to see babyface Finn Balor return, and that was, you said that like a couple weeks ago, and we got it tonight. We're recording this on Martin Luther King Day. Did you catch it?
I did, yeah. I was excited for the match. I wanted Finn to win. I didn't think that Finn was necessarily going to win, but he was in Ireland, and Punk came out first, and Finn came out, to his old music, did his crowd participation arms thing, and the crowd was just so amped for this match. It was hard not to enjoy it.
Manifested. That was the word I was looking for. Manifested. Sorry, go ahead.
There it was. So yeah, you're right. I manifested it. Yes, it was all my doing. As soon as he started coming out and I heard his original music, I was like, oh shit, here we go. Let's fucking go. Did
you think it was going to be the Demon or no?
No, I didn't think it was going to be the Demon, but I figured, it would be, we would at least get the crowd super hyped about getting to participate and stuff. But yeah, I wasn't expecting the crowd to be as rabid as they were, and to boo everything that Punk did as much as they booed. And, it was a good match.
It was kind of like CM Punk, I feel like, with the boos and his sort of grimacing sneers and stuff, like he was enjoying the boos. He was enjoying being the heel. I know that for us viewers, Finn is still the heel, but obviously not in Dublin or not in
not tonight.
Belfast. Yeah. And it seemed like Punk kind of worked with that a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a really fucking good match. Like, is Punk always that good? It felt like he was on tonight,
He did great. I mean, everyone did great. I think this match made me realize how important a good crowd is, because if you turned the audio off and you just watched the match, like, it's a pretty normal match. There's nothing crazy going on. It did have a good flow. It had good pacing, but crowds make everything better. This crowd was so excited and so behind Finn that everything he did got a cheer. Everything Punk did got a boo. They bit on all of the false finishes. So yeah, it was just like a great experience. I enjoyed all of it.
I was thinking about that, like when I used to do more music stuff, like with bands and stuff back in the day, and there'd be a really good show. It usually wouldn't be like because I did anything good. People would be like, that show was fucking awesome. I'm like, no, you guys were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, we do the same shit every day. But when you guys are awesome, the show is awesome. When you're all singing along, when you're all jumping on stage, when I fucking can't breathe because too many people packed in the room, like, it's not us, it's you. And with wrestling, it kind of reminded me of that, because when you're like hitting someone in the gut and there's no sound, it's kind of like, whatever, that was like, you kind of tell that it wasn't real. But when it's like, oh, and the whole crowd is like, for every boo, yay, like making all these sounds, you're like, this is violent, this is wild, this is more real.
This is the best match I've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I wonder if wrestlers like musicians think that they're like, we did all right, but like they're the variable. I wonder.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, I think, again, I am not a wrestler. I've never been in the industry officially, but I kind of get the feeling that when they come back in through the curtain after a match like that, regardless of how the action went, they're probably really happy because the crowd was into it the whole time.
But I just think they both did a really great job. And I guess, like you said, we hadn't seen Finn kind of like just on his own without the Judgment Day, not holding, Dominic's gym bag or anything, just coming out and tearing it up like that in a while. And
yeah, doing his thing.
I was pumped. I didn't see the rest of Raw yet because, we had to move it along and start the show and stuff. I'm sure some other interesting things happened as we are moving closer to the Rumble. Yeah.
Oh, there is one thing that I saw that was interesting that I'm curious about your reaction towards. AJ Styles and Gunther are going to wrestle again at the Rumble, but if AJ loses, his career is over.
Yeah. Why would you put your career on the line if you're not even going to have a title? It's because he wants to avenge Cena, right? That's the thing.
Maybe, I don't know.
And he wanted one more shot because he got it, and then Gunther tapped, but the ref didn't see it, and then AJ lost. And,
yeah, right. that was definitely, that was what happened the first time they wrestled. But it just feels like taking a step back from the story. I'm like, no, don't. I don't want him to have his last match in Saudi at the Royal Rumble. That would suck. Maybe this is his way of freeing himself up so he could go to TNA for a little bit or something. But
I don't like. It's too quick. I don't want AJ to retire like that.
Me neither.
Like fucking and on a 1 week build. Like no. Like if he's gonna be like retirement match versus Gunther, that's like, I don't know. That's, give me some weeks to process this, right? It's like next week AJ is gone or he's not, right? It's
I mean they have had a bit of back and forth and some story building since the beginning of the year, but not a lot.
I guess I just mean the announcement. Like we only have a week or two to let that set in.
True.
But you're right. I mean, the build was the wrong word. It's just like they just told us, and it's so soon. I don't think he's going to retire, man. I don't think he's going to retire in Saudi.
I hope not. I mean, we'll see. It's definitely if you didn't have a reason to watch the Rumble before, it's a reason to watch.
Yeah, and Gunther's, I guess, not in the Rumble then.
I guess not. Yeah.
What is going on? Like, how do we not know who's in the Royal Rumble yet?
We just know Cody. That's the only person who officially, I didn't watch all of Raw either, so maybe somebody else announced, but I don't think so.
I shouldn't bring up like dirt sheet stuff because most of it's just clickbait and unfounded, but you see a bunch of things popping up in your like wrestling Twitter and such where it says like Saudi's gonna buy WWE, it's for sale again, and things of that nature. Are you getting those too?
Actually, haven't seen anything about that.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it hasn't been from like legitimate news sources, but that's like starting to go around, and I'm like, oh, I don't want you guys to be over there like any more than you already are. Like, you've already taken WrestleMania away from America, like next year, or 2 years. But we'll see when it happens, and I guess it doesn't really matter which corporation or country runs the damn thing. Clearly we are along for the ride regardless.
And now it's time for the rewind.
All right, so today I know we're in Royal Rumble season, but I'm going to step away from WWE, WWF for a moment. Aaron and I watched WCW Souled Out 1998, which was around this time of year, January 24th of that year of 1998 at the Hara Arena in Dayton, Ohio for a sold out attendance of 8,000. It's not very impressive by today's standards, but back then I'm sure it was. An NWO-heavy presentation. It was promoted as being an NWO WCW production. Graffiti, spray paint, like video transitions. A lot of WCW baby faces versus NWO heels. Tony Schiavone, Bobby Heenan, Dusty Rhodes, and occasionally Mike Tenay on commentary. The WCW championship is vacant. Giant put up $1.5 million to guarantee he would not touch Kevin Nash before they had a match on this evening, which is like some Bischoff nonsense type stuff. We always say things are of its time, but of course it's of its time. It's kind of one of the things, late 1990s, like it's just, you feel it when you're watching it. The first match was something that I appreciate about WCW. They always kind of gave you some lucha libre.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't love like an 8-man tag. That's what this was. But with lucha, we can forgive that. It was...
there were some different rules, which was kind of interesting. So Mike Tenay said that, like, per the lucha libre 8-man tag rules, that if somebody goes out to the floor, a team member can take their place in the ring without a tag. I had never heard of that before, so it was an interesting twist.
That is a lucha rule.
Oh, okay.
Like, you don't have to tag. You can just leave the ring, and then your other guy is legal.
Got it.
And that's why sometimes it feels like they don't follow the rules. Like if you watch like AAA and stuff, like they don't even because I used to complain about that. Like they don't even fucking follow the rules. They don't know the rules. And it's like, well, no, actually, like in Mexico, there is no tag rule.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I could go through the list of the participants here. So we had Juventud Guerrera, Super Calo, Liz Marker Jr. and Chavo Guerrero Jr. versus La Parca, Psychosis, Silver King, and El Dandy.
You know what's funny about La Parca? It's not funny that he died. That's not what I was going to say, but he died in 2020. But I've seen him wrestle since.
Oh yeah, there's a new person playing La Parca.
I guess it's just weird. I mean, they kind of find someone with a similar body. And I think sometimes it's like LA Parka, and sometimes it's, you know what I mean? So they can get different groups can get away with using it.
Yeah.
If anyone hasn't seen La Parka, he's kind of a big, like heavier luchador.
Very distinctive mask and outfit.
He kind of has like the Karate Kid skeleton outfit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's all black with like skeleton on it, but it's like it goes to covers his face, and he's got a hood and everything, and very iconic.
And beyond that, I mean, the dancing is what's iconic, and then him just always having a chair. That's pretty much all you need, and you can be La Parca too. So yeah, I recognized 4 out of the 8. Granted, they were split up on the teams, like Juventud Guerrera, Chavo Guerrero, La Parca, and Psychosis. Those are the 4 that I remember from when I was watching during this time period as a kid. I did make a note that El Dandy, who was in red tights, looked a lot like a Nacho Libre. It made me laugh. Like if you kind of squinted and looked off to the side, it's like, is that Nacho Libre?
How many people do you think in this country who had their very first
experience with Lucha Libre as Nacho Libre?
Yeah, I'm sure. It happens a lot. You like wrestling? Like it looks like Nacho Libre's up there. I'm like, well, that's just lucha happening on the screen. But
I love that movie, by the way. It's hilarious. But
I have to admit, I have not seen it.
It's not very faithful to wrestling, but you should. I mean, I don't know if it's your kind of it's a very specific type of comedy, but it's funny.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's a wrestling aspect to it does make it funny. I wouldn't say that it's like faithful to professional wrestling in many ways, but it's entertaining as shit.
Right. But you know, when this match came on, I was thinking like, I'm not going to watch this and like try to judge or care about the structure of the match or the story. I'm like, in this situation, we're just like going to wait for some spots and see what happens. Right. Like I just wanted to see the athleticism because it's lucha.
Yeah. There's not a ton of flow, but there's a lot of impressive moves. But like you said, it doesn't feel abnormal for this type of match with these type of wrestlers to have a ton of flow per se. I mean, you know, the lucha rules of not needing to tag lend itself to the chaotic nature of what we saw. And I mean, yeah, it's enjoyable. I did laugh that they did kind of do the same thing that the minis did in the 6-man tag of the Royal Rumble. Like they all did their like, let me jump over the top rope onto the floor spot.
I like the Bobby Heenan line where he said, somewhere in Mexico, there's an insurance salesman canceling 8 policies.
I missed that. There were some pretty funny lines in this one too. I guess I just didn't write any of them down, but yeah, it was a fun match. There's not really anything to complain about.
I don't even know who won, but La Parca hit every single person with a chair, so that's
cool. So I wrote down the finish. Psychosis and Chavo Guerrero Jr. were the only ones left in the ring after all 6 of the other people jumped out onto the floor. And it was kind of quick. Chavo hit a tornado DDT and got the win on Psychosis. And then La Parca, hits everyone with a chair, even his own teammates, which is great. Silly.
I do have the Dave Meltzer's Wrestling Observer newsletter ratings for the matches on this card. This one was a 2 1/4 star, which I think places it as a pretty standard match.
Yeah. Oh, and I did want to say, you mentioned at the beginning of this segment that the title, the World Championship, was vacant. Giant and Nash are scheduled to have a match. Both of those things actually came about as a result of Starrcade 97, which we covered in a previous episode. So this is the next pay-per-view after Starrcade 97, which is where we had that wonky finish to the Hulk Hogan versus Sting match where Bret Hart came out and restarted the match, even though it was a clean 3 count. And then also Giant was supposed to wrestle Nash, but Nash was like, I don't want to wrestle him. So he didn't show up. And then we got a weird segment. So, and you know, I'll get into it more as we continue on with this pay-per-view, but like for only a month or like 6 weeks in between this and Starrcade 97, this was way better. Like as a whole, crazy how much better it was.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And this episode has been brought to you by Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. If you've been injured in an accident, motorcycle, car, dog bite, slip and fall, or even if you've been hit in the head with a flying steel chair, these are the guys to call. They've got knockout reviews on Google, a killer track record, and they always fight for the win. I can testify to that personally. Weber for Law took care of me, and they will take care of you too. Don't wait. Visit weberforlaw.com. That's WEBER, the number 4, law.com. Or call 818-502-9200. That's 818-502-9200. Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. I mean, I agree. In fact, I generally think this era, even though it's very celebrated by fans, watching it now, I think mid to late 90s, later 90s WCW is, to me, way worse than mid to late 90s WWF.
Absolutely.
And late 80s, early 90s WCW is way fucking better than late 80s, early 90s WWF. And those are, just generally, but like those are like kind of, it's not how I remembered it. For me, it was like, well, the golden era is like the best shit, and then WCW like got their momentum and then put WWE on their heels or whatever. But like, it's not, now that we're watching it all, like, no, it's not quite like that. But this, for late 90s WCW, I was like, okay, we're on to something here.
Yeah,
like,
I think the big thing too is when it comes to mid to late 90s, the excitement and what drew everybody in was the TV shows, Nitro and Raw. So like if we were watching those, we would probably get a better sense of why because like Nitro was an amazing television show, and so was Raw from a certain point on. The pay-per-views can kind of be all over the place, and you know that was just it. Like the unpredictability of the late 90s wrestling shows was the thing. Like, you know, you just didn't know what was going to happen, and for whatever reason, WCW pay-per-views feel very formulaic around this time period. Like when you look back, I don't think people are talking about like, oh, these pay-per-views from WCW are so good. They were just like, man, Nitro in the 90s when they were beating WWF. So like it's kind of a weird, we analyze it from a weird place where we don't have the full picture in a way.
Right. When I was a kid, I mean, it was before WCW really picked up its steam when I was watching Raw a lot. I guess I was watching Raw from the get-go. But in my mind, like, there was no way in hell I would ever watch WCW over WWF, because to me, that was like, you know, having to eat like generic cereal instead of like real Fruit Loops, you know? Like, I was just like, to me, like in my mind, it was just like second tier, but I don't feel that way at all anymore.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, what my little child brain like accepted as truth. But
I guess I when I think about it, I'm not entirely sure why, because I feel like I was watching both, but I think that I was watching more of WCW or more Nitro, I would say. And that probably has something to do with going to the Halloween Havoc that I went to as a kid, because the NWO, I think it was like, I forget if it was 96 or 97, but the NWO had already existed. So, you know, that whole thing was intriguing. And back then, for a little while at least, you didn't entirely know what was happening. Like, are they really some sort of faction from the WWF that broke off or whatever? You know, like when you're a 7-year-old kid, you're like, oh wow.
I guess that's what Bischoff was good at, is getting you to tune into television. I think what he wasn't good at was actually booking wrestling.
Telling big storylines. Yeah. Booking storylines that lasted for a long time and had like satisfying endings.
Right.
All right.
So the second match was Raven versus Chris Benoit. We've probably watched Benoit more than anybody on so far
between the two
podcasts. He's on like almost every goddamn thing. Yeah,
we do see a lot of him, and I think we see a lot of him because we ping pong between WCW and WWF/E, and he was in both companies, and you know, and actually this was another one that was kind of a thread from Starrcade, because I'm pretty sure Benoit wanted to wrestle Raven during Starrcade, and then he wrestled Perry Saturn instead, I think.
Because Raven does whatever he wants, whenever he wants, man. He's like the grunge guy that just, and he only wrestles if there's no rules, right? Is that the thing that they said?
That's what they said. It's part of Raven's shtick that like he can wrestle with whatever rules he wants or something. Him and his stable, the Flock, come out with no music. They all look like dirty grunge guys. But for this pay-per-view, for whatever reason, the announcer mentions that Raven has to wrestle tonight and that the Flock is banned from ringside. So we're going to get a real fight for once.
Once again, society has tried to make me conform to its rules, he says.
Yeah, no, he's great. Raven just had an interview drop on Chris Van Vliet's podcast that I've been seeing clips of. I probably will watch it at some point, but Raven's a funny guy. He's very smart. Crowd super invested. So the crowd loved the Lucha Libre match too. The crowd, I think, for the most part in this pay-per-view was like super into everything, at least for a little while, I would say, and we'll get to why later. But you know, it's a very good match. I still don't like watching Benoit matches. I still feel uneasy about it, and I don't like giving him credit but it's a good match. The crowd does not like Raven. They do like Benoit. It's a very intense match, very hard hitting.
It's weird. Is it weird that I'm desensitized to him now? Like, I don't think of him.
No, that's
I don't get scared and think of him as a murderer anymore because
that's totally normal, and that's part of the problem. Is like the more that we watch him, the less we're gonna think of him as the person who killed his family and himself, and just as a wrestler. And I don't know if he deserves that.
he's the worst. But I mean, what he did was the worst. But like, once you start evaluating wrestling by who's like a good dude and who's not, it's
The herd starts to thin out pretty fast.
pretty fucking quick. But
Yeah. I mean, Benoit hit a flying headbutt with Raven on the mat and a chair on Raven's head. And I'm like, well, there's a good spot of CTE for him. Like all the crazy shit that this guy did.
did you notice that Heenan was saying he couldn't think of the word dimension? And he was like, he doesn't know where he's at. He's in another dilemma. And then the rest of the other announcers just kept saying like he's in some kind of dilemma, or maybe a dimension, or they just kept running with it. Raven kind of did a little bit of the John Cena thing, right? He I don't know, he doesn't tap, but he passes out with kind of a smile on his face.
He enjoyed it. He enjoyed the pain. He got he tapped out from the crippler crossface, which was Benoit's finishing submission. Big pop. Kidman shows up from the flock, but Dean Malenko comes out and puts Kidman in the cloverleaf submission. The rest of the flock comes out. They have a schmaz, and Malenko and Benoit stand tall at the end of the match, or the end of the fight. And then they have a stare down.
And Dave gave this one 3.25 stars.
Okay, yeah. All right, so I liked Jericho versus Mysterio. I did laugh again that the music that we heard when Jericho came out was his WWF Break the Walls music. And then Shivani was talking about how like everyone's booing him, but you can't hear the boos because they you can't hear any of the crowd noise because we're listening to their overdubbing. So it's like you can't really get a vibe of what the crowd is like.
Jericho's played so many different kind of versions of Jericho, but this was kind of similar to his late AEW hi guys, because everyone's like booing him and he's kind of like smiling and waving, and it's not the same character, but to me it kind of,
there's similarities.
Yeah, I was like, you're so happy, you're not like looking at them mad and like spitting at them and sort of wrinkling up your face. You're just kind of like, what's up? You don't like me? I love you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we did once the music stopped playing, I did hear some Jericho sucks chants. So he's definitely the heel, Ray's the face as always. The story of this match was that Rey had a knee injury. He was wearing a knee brace, and it seems to bother him pretty early. I don't remember if it was like he did a move that he landed wrong, or if it just like if he was just selling it early. But pretty soon that became the story of the match, that Jericho was going to attack his knee. And it was like I don't remember any of the specifics, but I remember it being an impressive match. Rey Mysterio always was impressive during this time. He's still impressive now, but he was always really innovative in the 90s. The finish actually I liked a lot.
So good. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Rey was trying to do a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. Like Jericho was sitting on the top turnbuckle. Rey was trying to do a Hurricane Rana, but Jericho holds on to his legs and they drop down to the mat, almost like a slam. Like he almost kind of slams him down, but they drop down to the mat into Jericho's finisher, the Lion Tamer, and Rey taps out almost immediately.
That was pretty awesome. Like for a finisher, I don't know, you don't usually see someone hit their finisher as part of a reversal. Pretty cool. But I mean, these guys are both like so fucking good. I mean, Chris Jericho when he was younger is just amazing. And Rey probably held up better than Chris as far as like still being pretty impressive. But man, it's just, I don't know. I mean, Dave Meltzer gave this one 3 3/4 star, but like, whatever. I mean, just for a random ass pay-per-view to see those two was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, for so far, the first 3 matches to me have all been fantastic.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I lucked out here. I picked some real shitty ones. And I was like, I got lucky on this one. And there was some disgusting heat, as they call it, at the end, where you got Chris Jericho just smashing the shit out of Rey's knee after he had already, lost the title and already lost the match. And
then things started to take a turn. We had Mean Gene Okerlund and chairman of the WCW Executive Committee, J.J. Dillon, talking about the WCW Championship.
That guy sucks.
What'd you say? This guy sucks?
J.J. Dillon sucks. Yeah, I don't know. Just some fucking like...
Well, he was a manager, remember, from like 80s stuff that we watched?
Right. Well, he was great back then because he had that heat, that Southern heat, right? And he was always coming out with his shirt off, and he was kind of just like the wild dad. But he kind of sucks as like an older suit. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little boring. So again, this whole conversation about the WCW Championship is a result of what happened in Starrcade 97, which we talked about earlier. The title is vacated. For whatever reason, Roddy Piper is being consulted about the belt and what the fate of the WCW Championship should be. So he comes out, he talks for a while, he asks Sting and Hogan to come out. And, it takes way more time than it needs to. But essentially he's like, all right, so Sting and Hogan, you're going to wrestle each other at Super Brawl for the championship, which I assume is the next pay-per-view. The other interesting thing about this whole segment was that Scott Hall had won something called World War III, which I guess was it's
like a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and it's like 3 rings, I think. I think
60 men and 3 rings. Is that right?
I think so. That sounds right. Maybe we should look it up. But yeah. I remember that he won it, and whoever wins gets a title shot. And so he, I guess, kind of assumed that he would be in the title picture somehow, especially with it being vacant. And he was not. So he walked away from that segment pretty pissed off.
World War III was 60 men. Oh my God, this is so stupid and convoluted. 60 men assigned to a specific ring before the match begins. Match begins with all 60 men in 3 rings. Win the bell rings. Each is assigned a number from left to right on the TV screen. I'm so fucking bored. I'm not going to read the rest of this. Like, when 10 men remain in ring 1 or ring 3, they're moved to ring 2 and the match continues. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, convoluted. But anyway, that happened November 23rd of 1997 was when Scott Hall won that. So 2 months later, they hadn't done anything with his opportunity to get a championship match. So he's mad. And the segment ends and we move on to the next match.
I just think that whole thing made WCW feel weak. Like, feel like the wheels are about to fall off. I was like, what the fuck? Like, Hogan can't lose. Piper's out there, like the fucking...
Yeah, the storylines are not great. Luckily, they have really good wrestlers who do great in-ring work.
Yeah.
But the next match was Booker T against Rick Martel. This was for the WCW World Television Championship. Rick Martel we saw in the early Rumble 91 that we watched. And he looks a bit older now. Booker T is the TV champ. He is, I guess, Harlem Heat is not together anymore, so he's doing his singles thing. And people like Booker T for sure. I don't know. This felt like the bathroom break match to me, based off the crowd.
You know, I was gonna say though that Rick Martel, is he kind of like the journeyman wrestler of the 90s? Like he's real solid. He's a good wrestler.
I would imagine people would probably pick other people over him, but I don't know. He didn't do anything wrong. He was good. It's just like, it just felt kind of whatever. I mean, let me see. How long was he even in WCW at this point?
I guess when I see him, I'm like, I never talked about this guy, thought much about this guy, but he's always in there and he's not really fucking anything up. So I figured, there's something to be said for that.
So he'd only been in WCW for a few weeks at this point. He was on his first match or first appearance in the late 90s was on an episode of Nitro, on the first episode of Nitro in January. So
yeah, Booker T wins here. Nothing flashy. I mean, I thought Booker T was fine. It's solid. He's always good, but like, it's a 6-minute match. Booker T retains, and then we get match 5, which is Larry Zbyszko versus Scott Hall, representing the NWO.
I still can't believe that they announced Larry Zbyszko as having won over 5,000 matches. What a ridiculous statistic that is. He has won over 5,000 matches. Like, how can anyone believe that?
The crowd was chanting Larry sucks, right? Or were a misunderstanding?
So, well, this is where it gets interesting. Like, this is where the interesting part of it all comes out, right? Is like, yeah, NWO are the bad guys, but like that crowd was split 50-50, like,
yeah,
chanting Larry sucks and chanting Hall sucks. Like, I wrote it down. The crowd is split because we were hearing both. Larry, I guess, and again, we missed this because it was probably on Nitro, but they were talking about how like Larry has somebody that he's going to come down to the ring with, and we don't know who it is because he'll need to combat, the NWO having somebody. In this case, it was Louis Spicolli, who I've never heard of, for Scott Hall. But
was he like kind of look like the Blue Meanie or some shit? It wasn't that guy though, right?
I don't think so. Let's look. He performed in Mexico under the ring name Madonna's Boyfriend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did look him up during this, and I was like, okay, I don't know him from. It says he was in ECW, but he wasn't anyone that I would have remembered.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't recognize him, but anyway, the person that Zbyszko got on his side was none other than the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
That's cool.
And that was exciting, especially you haven't seen Dusty do anything in a while. So crowd was definitely excited about that. The match itself was fine. I thought it was nothing spectacular, but Hall did good. Zbyszko did good for being 49 or whatever he is.
Yeah.
And I did laugh and wrote down there was a great sign. Zbyszko sweats Crisco. I like that.
I haven't even thought of that Crisco in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. But despite the great sign, I gotta say this was one of the worst finishes for a match I've seen in a long time. It started out really exciting. Referee gets knocked out, and Dusty comes in to stop Louis Spicolli interfering, gives him a couple of bionic elbows. Looks like he's heading over to Scott Hall. And then Dusty starts to unbutton his shirt to reveal an NWO shirt underneath. And we get a Dusty heel turn, the newest member of the NWO. I wrote, what the actual fuck?
It's funny because half the crowd loves NWO and half the crowd is supporting WCW, but nobody wanted this heel turn. Nobody wanted to see Dusty join the NWO. We don't really, at this point, need to see anybody else join the NWO.
Not at all. It's been like 2.5 years. Everybody who wanted to be is a member of the NWO. So,
or used to be. Yeah.
This match ended it didn't really end well. It like ended with Zbyszko winning via DQ, which is stupid. And the air got sucked out of the arena by having to watch Dusty turn heel.
Yeah.
People were like, what the fuck?
Meltzer gave that one a 1.5 star, which I don't disagree with.
Yeah. And not only was the crowd dead quiet for pretty much the entirety of the rest of the night, but, the Shivani like played it off way too heavy. Like he he couldn't speak. He was like speechless. He's like, can we get Tenay in here? I need to take a break.
Yeah, dude, he's so cheesy. He just he never feels authentic to me, but you could really tell he was coached to play up that Dusty heel turn. It wasn't like people were speechless. They were just kind of like, this shit's dumb. they weren't into it.
Yeah, like the crowd was just like, what?
Yeah.
Why? And then, with the exception of one match out of the remaining 4, the pay-per-view just only went downhill from here.
So in match 6, we get to a 6-man tag, which we didn't need.
Which we pretty much already saw. I'm pretty sure this was like almost the identical 6-man tag that we saw in Starrcade.
Yeah, I mean, it's this filler. I mean, it's not like there aren't good people in this. It's Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton, and Conan on the NWO side versus the Steiners and our good buddy Ray Traylor, formerly known as the Big Boss Man, with Ted DiBiase in the corner. Tons of good workers in there, but the match is fine. It's just like there's a million people. Doesn't need to be that many guys in the ring, and everything's overshadowed, like we already said, with the Dusty aftermath. They're just talking about that still.
Mm-hmm.
Is Steiner Rock their theme song from that era? Is that like the legitimate Steiner song?
I don't remember, but I think it is. I think what we're hearing, as we watched it, was their actual theme.
It's kind of a funny theme.
Steiner line.
Yeah, whatever that was.
They tried to tell a story in this match that I guess they had been talking, or that they had been telling over the subsequent weeks on Nitro, which is that Scott Steiner is not getting tagged in. I guess Ray Traylor and Rick Steiner don't trust him because, I don't know, he's like a showboat or something. Like they feel like he, I think they mentioned on commentary that like they were in a match and he literally never tagged either of them in on maybe it was on Nitro or on Thunder or something.
Yeah.
So it was a very strange match because of this like Scott Steiner story that they were trying to tell. The crowd was dead quiet. I had already seen this match. I looked it up. The Starrcade 97 match was Scott Norton, Randy Savage, and Vincent against Ray Traylor and the Steiners. So it was still NWO against the Steiners and Ray Traylor.
Yeah, it was a quick match at least. Scott Steiner got the pin on Conan, the Meltzer rating of 2 stars. Not really much else to touch on that one, I don't think. All right, so we get into the 7th match was Kevin Nash with Hogan and Bischoff, of course, versus the Giant.
2 meaty men slapping meats, man.
Yeah, Giant comes out with no music. I think it kind of worked. Him just walking out all fucking big. And the crazy thing is, the Giant, I mean, Kevin Nash is like 7 fucking feet tall.
Yeah, he's like 6'10" or something, very close to 7 feet.
And the Giant, yes. And the Giant makes him look,
small.
Kind of.
He caught him. I think Nash went, I don't think he went over the ropes. Maybe he went through the ropes or something, but Giant caught him.
It's crazy shit.
And like with ease, and then threw him into the steps. It's got to be really hard to catch a 6'10" guy, no matter how big and strong you are.
And it's like, I know throughout the years, especially on the WWF side with Vince McMahon, if you're 6'10" or over, you can pretty much with any level of talent be on TV in the WWF. But these fucking guys are like super athletic and huge. They're not just giants.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say this was like a banger of a match, but like there, at least it woke me a little bit back up after that last thing. I was like, at least you've got literally in an arena at 8,000 people, you've got the two biggest fucking guys in the room, you know, crowd included.
Yeah, I mean it was okay until it became pretty much every other NWO match, which is interference from Hogan. He hits Giant with a chair, and then a minute or two later, Nash throws a pot of coffee, quote unquote, scalding hot coffee, quote unquote, in the Giant's face. Then a low blow. Then a jackknife powerbomb where he almost breaks his fucking neck. Like, did you see how he just dropped him on his back of his head?
That's what I wrote. Sloppy jackknife gets the win. Yeah, it was real sloppy.
Yeah, it was crazy. Giant didn't move for like a couple minutes. And they said on commentary that it was because of the coffee and they were like putting bandages over his eyes or whatever. But I got to wonder if he didn't like get knocked out or something.
Aaron, did we see a hot coffee spot already when we were watching 90s stuff? Or did we see a replay of this? And that's what it was?
No. It was, wasn't it Mark Henry and Jerry Lawler?
Yeah.
With the hot coffee?
Yeah, because in the 90s, there was the famous court case where McDonald's coffees burnt an old lady. And that was like on the news constantly. So everyone had to reference it. The Stella Liebeck case. But I was like, man, I can't believe we've seen it twice now.
Yes, the old hot coffee ruse.
Yeah. Hot coffee and a low blow.
Yeah. What did Dave give this one?
2 3/4 stars.
Okay. Well, the next match was better. Thank God. This was, I don't know if this was match of the night, but it was a good match. This was match number 8 for no title. It was Bret Hart against Ric Flair. And
this was Bret Hart's very first match in WCW.
Yeah.
And probably his last good match in WCW. I don't know if much happened. I wouldn't say his last good match, but
one of his last good matches.
His only matches in WCW. Like, it didn't last that long.
I don't remember how long he wrestled before he got kicked in the face by Goldberg.
Yeah, I don't know, but Flair comes out in the gold robe, and the pageantry is always fun with him. And
I like this match a lot. I mean, you could definitely call this a quote unquote boring match, but it's not, because these two guys are important, like, to the history of wrestling. And even up until this point, they had such historic careers that, like, everything felt like it had stakes. Flair is 49 years old at this point, so a lot of his career has passed him by, but I thought this was really good. The crowd was definitely invested. I feel like they liked both men. This was the longest match of the card, almost 20 minutes. Yeah, I really liked it. Is it either of their best matches? No, but I think it was one of the better matches on the card, especially after 1, 2, 3, 4 matches that you could say were okay to not good.
Yeah, I think for me it was cool. It's kind of the wrestling I like. It starts off with the psychology, and Flair's kind of like tapping his head and, locking up and backing up, and you get sort of the mat wrestling. As it moves on, like, you kind of get like Bret doing some psychology. So he puts the figure 4 on Flair's move on Flair. Flair starts to cheat. He uses the ropes. He throws the cheap shots. We get the classic chops. Flair gets the figure 4 on Bret. Flair never really wins with the figure 4. I think he said that before, that his finisher that's never actually got him a win. Bret reverses the pressure. Flair goes for the top rope crossbody, and Bret catches his ass while he's still up there hanging out on the top rope, and Bret locks in the sharpshooter. Flair taps immediately. So I think it was kind of like clean and sort of respectful of Ric Flair to be like, all right, Bret Bret Hart's first match in WCW. Like you got to start it off big. Started off with a win over Ric Flair, and that's what they did.
I was enjoying it the entirety of the time, and the crowd definitely did also. I felt like they were split, but not in like a hostile way. It wasn't like Bret sucks or Rick sucks. They were like just both cheering for both of them, you know? So
didn't Bobby Heenan say that in the promos leading up to it, they looked each other in the eye, and Ric Flair told Bret that he's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. And then Bret replied, I guess if I want to be the man, I got to beat the man. And I was like, that's a pretty cool, like, I mean, if that's what happened, that's pretty cool.
It would have been nice to see a little bit of the build up to this, but I thought it was great. It was the longest match on the card at 18 minutes. I don't know if it was the best match of the night, but it was a good match for sure. What did Dave think?
Dave gave it almost a perfect score for 4.25 stars.
That's high for him in the 90s.
Dude, I mean, it's a dream match, and you know, nerds like Dave love a good dream match, you know.
Yep.
And these guys hadn't squared off in a long time, and probably when they did, Bret probably wasn't the star that he was at that point, and it probably wasn't considered a dream match at that point. So yeah, it's cool. And then we get I guess what you'd call the main event. They were saying this was a triple main event, but we get the 9th match, which is Macho Man Randy Savage versus Lex Luger. And I'm sitting here looking at this feed that I'm streaming on, and I'm like, how is there 8 minutes left on the show and we're starting the main event, you know?
Yeah, because the match is fucking 7 minutes long.
And I was like, well, this is going to be shit. But
yeah, this made me finally realize why. You remember how I was like, I always feel like Luger had no charisma and he had bad matches. It's because the first like bit of Luger that I ever watched was stuff like this.
Yeah, this was, I mean, so I know you like Michael Buffer when he does the introductions. They did all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then Macho Man comes out with Elizabeth, which I think is tired because that was more of a thing when they were actually together like 10 years before this in the WWF.
Yeah.
My expectations are low. Luger's supposed to be a babyface, but like he never feels like one. He has no charisma. He comes out and he feels like just some asshole heel. And
he just looks like he's not happy to be there. And I think I don't know, but I suspect that he's probably taking a lot of painkillers at this point and like has an addiction problem because he doesn't look or act like a babyface should.
No.
And he did. Like we've seen it before. You know, that's what's weird about this is like all you have to do is go back like not even 10 years in the same company and he feels like a babyface, he acts like a babyface, the crowd likes him, or even maybe a couple years more he's a heel, and like it's just so weird. He doesn't feel like he fits either of the roles here. I don't know if the crowd is just tired or uninterested, but like they didn't really care about him.
Yeah, I mean when he came into wrestling, when he was fighting Ric Flair in early WCW, a lot of that kind of stuff, we were like, man, why do we think he sucks?
Yeah.
Now it's not very good. Liz interferes constantly. The ref is kind of useless. He doesn't eject her. I mean, he keeps catching her like fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he doesn't see her do it, but he knows like, you know, he hears the sounds. He looks at her like, what the hell's going on? It's the kind of thing where nowadays the ref would kind of like, you know, wind it up and point their finger towards the locker room and everyone would cheer, but Liz gets to kind of stay. And then eventually, you know, of course, in true NWO fashion, Hall and Hogan come out, but they're not getting along too well, right?
Yeah, wow. Yeah. That was kind of an interesting little twisteroo is Hall comes out first, Hogan comes out behind him to eventually make it clear that Hogan doesn't want Hall out there. And Hall's on the apron outside the ring. They're talking. He gets knocked off. He's got a chair and he gets knocked off and runs into Hogan. And then Luger gets Macho Man in the torture rack and wins. But then he gets attacked by 6 NWO members, and then Sting arrives and attacks everybody. This is where the crowd was actually excited for, you know, like they showed more excitement after the match was over than anything that happened in the match.
And the post-match was kind of for like a NWO segment featuring Hogan. It was kind of good. Like, I mean, it was as good as it could be for post-match shenanigans with NWO.
Yeah, and this is the kind of thing that I do remember This is like a Nitro ending. Like, this is the kind of thing that would happen is like, oh, we've got this big main event between a WCW guy and an NWO guy. And then it ends however it ends, and all of NWO comes out, and then Sting comes out and destroys everyone, and everybody loves it. You know, like, I had NWO fatigue just from this one pay-per-view by the time this match rolled around. Although I will say there was one match on this pay-per-view that was not, well, actually, there were two matches on this pay-per-view that were not won. No, there were three technically that were not won by the NWO. Zbyszko wins by DQ against Scott Hall. Ray Traylor and the Steiners beat NWO, and then Luger beat Savage. But I don't know, you know, it was an okay ending. Sting got Hogan in the Scorpion Deathlock. That was actually pretty good. It was just like, you know, not the best main event. Like, I think that the way that this pay-per-view was ordered, like the order of matches could have been tweaked a little bit, but again, it's the same thing that we've talked about, and that I think is just very true about this time period is the chances of you getting like an amazing second half of the card or an amazing main event are almost non-existent. Whereas you're always going to get good undercard, you're always going to get decent mid card, you're always going to get strong lucha. And that there's no difference with this pay-per-view here. Although I do think it was better than most of the WCW pay-per-views that we've watched.
The main event was given 1.5 star by Dave Meltzer, which I believe holds up. And now we get to our rating system, which is a 3-tier rating system. Fast forward, play, or rewind. Fast forward meaning we didn't like it. Play meaning it had its merits. And rewind meaning it was absolutely incredible. Since I chose this one, I'll go ahead and start. I know we kind of already
stooged off the finish, as they like to say.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. The show, you know, it has its peaks and valleys. I think Bret versus Flair was exciting. Jericho versus Rey was pretty excellent. NWO gets annoying. WCW in early 1998 is super talented and like structurally broken and breaking, and I can feel the momentum slipping. Even when there are some good matches in there, I'm not gonna like completely shit all over this. I do think it's strong for that promotion and the time, but obviously it can't give it like all of its flowers. So we're just gonna go in the middle here. We're gonna go with play for me. What say you, Aaron?
I am the same. When I think about all of the WCW pay-per-views that we have watched from this time period, I would say as a whole, it was probably one of the better ones. So I will give it a play as well. You know, there are some matches that I didn't really care for. I think the Dusty Rhodes turn was atrocious, and I'm kind of glad that I forgot that happened in this pay-per-view, because I had a very natural, visceral reaction to it, which was that of hatred.
Yeah.
And I can see why most people don't like that, because there's nothing anyone could ever do or say that would make me want to see Dusty be a heel.
I completely agree with you on that one. And before we get going today, we always love to hear from you, the Grapple Gang out there. You can give us a call anytime, day or night. We won't pick up. It's just a Google Voice line. 626-657-SLAM. That's 626-657-SLAM.
Pick up the phone.
If you want to call and cut a promo on Aaron, call and cut a promo on me. Call and just give your thoughts and feelings about old school wrestling, whatever the hell you want to do. Anything goes, as we say. You can also reach out to us across social media. We are at Grapple City Pod, or email, or grapplecitypod@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts, feelings, and I'm going to pull a call up from our Google voicemail here right now. Let's see. Someone called us from a Georgia line.
Yes, hello. This message is for the wrestling program. This is Tiny Traylor calling from Marietta, Georgia. I done had just about enough of you. I ain't lived through a depression and all 3 world wars to sit here and listen to my late son's name get laughed at and giggled about from a pair of California liberals. His name was Ray Traylor, a strong name, a real name. Show some damn respect. And you remember that somewhere out here is a very old, very large woman who is absolutely fed up and don't got no more energy for this nonsense.
All right. I guess that was the big boss man's mother giving us a call. I'm surprised she's still alive, but I'm glad it's going okay for Tiny Traylor out there in Marietta, Georgia. We've gotten a lot of heat for not knowing it was his real name, and we've been corrected on the internet, and now we've been corrected by his mother. Maybe we can put this behind us.
Sorry, ma'am. Yeah, I apologize.
All right, so that was fun for the day. But next week we'll be back with another pay-per-view, and I think this one's going to be your call, Aaron. Have you thought about what we are popping in the old VHS player? VCR.
That is what they call it. Yes, a VCR. I think since we're still in the month of January and it's Royal Rumble season, let's hop back over to the WWF fence. Let's watch one more Royal Rumble. And for this one, I'm going to pick Royal Rumble 2002.
And on that one, I'm sure there's some wrestling and people doing promos and stuff like that. So we'll see you then. No, I'm just kidding. We should pull it up and see what's on the...
It's a 6-match card, the Royal Rumble match, of course. And then we've got 5 other matches. William Regal, Edge, Ric Flair. Ric Flair versus Mr. McMahon. That'll be interesting.
Weird.
Chris Jericho against The Rock. Spike Dudley and Taz against the Dudley Boys.
It's been a minute since we've been over in that 2002 area, and
yeah, it's after the purchase of WCW by the WWF. It's, I think, before they called themselves WWE, so should be an interesting Royal Rumble field. I see Perry Saturn from WCW, Billy Kidman, Scotty 2 Hotty again.
I like that it's only 6 matches. That's nice,
Yeah, I think this will be a good one. Booker T, RVD, Mr. Perfect, the Hurricane, your buddy.
Oh yeah, him and Mighty Molly.
Mm-hmm. Big Boss Man, he's back. He's back as the Big Boss Man. Sorry, man.
Yeah. Sorry, man. All right, guys, that's all the time we got for tonight. We'll be back soon as we can.
Catch you in the cheap seats. Adios.